Happy Dia de los Muertos. So this year we were in quarantine for Halloween, unfortunately. But I wanted it to still feel like Halloween for my little kiddos. So of course that meant I had to make a Halloween costume for my 5-year-old. It was fun. So being that we were in quarantine, I had to get a pattern that I could print out at home, and I went with Truly Victorian. This is the 1869 princess dress, pattern TV 600. So it went together fairly simply. It was great that I could print it out from home and piece it together, and I didn't have to go anywhere. I also used materials that I had in my house. I used an old tablecloth for a table we no longer have, and some quilting fabric that I got from a yard sale last summer. So it took about a week. I only started a week before Halloween. Again, quarantine. More on that in another video. There was not too much complications. I did stab myself a lot with pins. I am not very good with pins, so tips and suggestions in the comments, please. Okay, so as I said, I did use an old tablecloth for most of the skirt pieces. I really liked it because it was gold and it felt really princessy, and my daughter liked it, but she definitely still wanted some pink in her outfit, so we left the center part of the dress out when we were pinning all of these pattern pieces on. She had a lot of fun handing me pins, a lot of fun dropping pins that I had to then pick up after finding with my toes. So we did just a bunch of pinning, making sure that all of the pattern pieces were firmly secured to the fabric. I brought my marker out because I thought that I was going to want to trace them, but I just did not trust this fabric.
I have this pen here.
I did not trust this fabric to not slip around while I was cutting and what have you. So it took, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to get all of the pinning and cutting done, mostly because there was a lot of conversations in between. We had a good time. Oh yes, then I pulled out my lining once Claudia was in bed, started pinning all of those pieces on there. It was a long night. I got the last piece pinned, and now I have to find my scissors so that we can cut it all out. And I'll be done with cutting, and I'll be very happy. Okay. Again, lots of cutting and fabric yoga. Alright, we're in the dungeon now, and it is the dungeon because it is very dark in here, except for the light. Okay, so what I am doing here is I'm taking each pattern piece. I'm going to remove the pins and make sure that all of the notches and marks are transferred to my fabric. That way I don't get confused later. It's all already there. I'm also going to be putting the pattern letter, because these pieces were lettered, not numbered. I'm going to put the letter on each one, so that I know which piece is which. Some of them are a little bit similar, and I made sure to mark the letter on the inside of each one so that I knew, especially on the lining material, which side was the wrong side when I was sewing it together. Final piece. Can I point out for like 2 seconds that I have this calendar here on the wall, right? And if we come over here and we look, it says March, and there's nothing filled in. It is currently October. The last time I updated my calendar was the beginning of March. Oh, right, now that the minor distraction is over, what I'm doing now is I am just pairing the lining pieces with the outer fabric, so it's all ready for me in the morning. It was a late night. I just wanted to make sure I was prepared for the next day. Hello. Okay. So I have to get all of these pieces flatlined. So I'm sewing the the lining fabric flat against the regular fabric, the inside of it, and we're gonna get that done. Hopefully I can finish all of that today and then start piecing together the dress tonight, and we can do fitting and alterations tomorrow. Step 1, flatlining. Piece 1, down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them really quick, and I will get back to you guys when it is time to start piecing them together. Alright, so I went ahead and flatlined everything, and now I'm just sewing the skirt panels together to make sure that they are ready to sew to the bodice and gather. So, these are the side fronts, these are the side backs. So, this has to match up here. With this edge. So, I'm gonna take the longest stitch I have. Okay, and I'm actually going to do it right next to where it basted everything. Better or worse? Bobbin thread on this side. Let's start doing the same thing. I might need a walking foot to do this. This is a lot. It's my own fault, really. Goodness gracious.
Oh, these look beautiful.
Mm.
Daddy, no.
I am realizing that I should have used pins. That way I can sew, not the clips. It's okay. We will make it through. So at this point I am just pinning in the seam allowance and removing the clips so that I can push this right through the machine without having to remove any of the pins. Well, there's one side. Hey! Cool. That turned out really nice. So, we have the back of the dress. Yeah. Cool. And then I immediately realized that it was crooked and I had to re-sew it before piecing together the rest of the dress, or at least the rest of the main part of the dress. I'm actually going to go ahead and iron all of these seams first, so I actually have like flat pieces to work with, because that is going to make it so much easier to match all of this up. Cue montage of putting the facing on the bodice of the dress. Alright, there was a bit of hand stitching that needed to be done to the inside portion of the bodice so that it didn't show through. I have a headache, so apologies for camera angle. I think I'm supposed to baste it. No, I'm supposed to properly sew it. I was wrong. And once I got the side seams of the sleeves finished, I had to fiddle and finagle the opening of the wrist through the machine. It was not very easy. It took way too much time, honestly. Once that was finished, I flipped the sleeves right side out and started basting the armhole area so that it would fit into the sleeve hole area. That part is done. The sleeves have been basted. Up next, setting them in to the dress. Alright, so I have my arm sleeve pinned, and we're gonna get this stitched on. Alright, so this is why you're never so tired or with a headache, because I did a beautiful job sewing this sleeve on, only this is the lining and this is the outside of the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and unpick all of this, put it back on the right way. Hopefully I can get this done tonight, because tomorrow's Halloween. Yay! Hello! It is Halloween today, and I'm still not done. So I have to hem the bottom and put on buttons and make some buttonholes. And then there's a couple little finishing touches that I want to do, but I probably won't have time to do. So they will get done sometime in the future. We're just trying to make it wearable today, so that's the plan. I decided to start with hemming the bottom, A, to practice my hand stitching, and B, because I really did not want to struggle with the buttonholes right away. sounded like way too much work, to be completely honest. It definitely took a lot more time than I expected to get it all hemmed by hand, but such is life. I'm about a third of the way done. This is taking forever. So to pass time quickly, I turned on a podcast and just kind of lounged back while sewing all of the hem by hand. I typically do not sew by hand, so this was a much bigger task than I anticipated, to be completely honest. Buttonhole time. Buttons and buttonholes. Buttons, easy. Buttonholes, not so much. I have never had that happen to me. My needle just came out.
Can I tell Dad that she can go in her costume?
If you want safety pins to hold this closed, which is totally fine, I can do that.
Yeah.
Then, yes, give me 5 minutes and you can put it on.
I want safety pin. Can I tell Daddy that Nora can wear her clothes right now?
Yeah. We ended up using safety pins to put it together. It does have buttons on it, but after I lost the needle out of my sewing machine, I did not feel like fiddling anymore. She still got to wear a really fun costume. The safety pins held it together all day. We bought some candy, we carved some pumpkins, I roasted some pumpkin seeds, and we made some popcorn, and we watched Hocus Pocus. It was a good night. It was a good day. Everybody had fun. I can put little finishing details on her dress. We do plan on having a Halloween 2.0 with my best friend and her kids once everybody in our household is COVID free. They're typically a part of our quarantine group anyway, whenever that is, probably for Thanksgiving, which I don't think she'd mind. I hope you guys enjoyed. What is it the kids say? Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.